Welcome back, and joining me with more insight on the day's trade is Annatjie Van Rooyen from Regeneysys Business School. Thank you so much for your time, Annatjie. A pretty good way to end off the week because as we are talking, of course, this conversation is pre-recorded. The JSE is up almost 1.5%. Those are significant gains compared to what we saw earlier on in the week. And the Rand is now just above 17 Rand 70 against the US dollar. And for a while, actually, for the last week or so, it has threatened to cross that 18 Rand mark against the US dollar, but now seeming to be pulling back and strengthening. What is behind this buoyancy in our local market? Is there anything specific?
Well, good afternoon, and thanks for having me on your show. Yes, it definitely is the firmer commodity prices, and especially the commodity prices. Palladium is up 4% today. So that's providing a nice underpin for the Rand. And the short-term range there is 1760 to 1780. But we're also seeing some dollar weakness with Jerome Powell being under pressure once again to cut rates, even though inflation is still high and that economy is still quite strong.
Yeah, and that dollar weakness story has actually been a thing for a while, and seeming that it is going to continue. And I guess that's always a good thing for the Rand and our own inflation picture as well. As you were talking about the palladium prices, of course, we are seeing the biggest gainers on the JSE today, being the PGM miners. Sibanye up, as we're talking, almost 8%. Valterra climbing more than 7%. Implats 7%. Even African Rainbow Minerals is up about 5%. Northern Platinum also participating there. We did also get a Valterra interim trading statement and second quarter production update today. I mean, just it's quite interesting because you see this big climb in the share price, but then what they have produced is actually saying something different. So they're saying that they expect their bottom line to drop by as much as 88% in the interim period. A number of headwinds that the company cited, including a decline in production. Of course, I would imagine that that share price gain is not a result of those numbers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So I think the market's probably telling us that the worst is behind us now when it comes to Valterra, because some of the reasons behind that drop in headline earnings per share is the once-off cost that has to do with the unbundling. And if you look at palladium price just today, up 4%. If you take the PGM basket in total and you calculate the year-to-date gains, the market's discounting forward. So I think the next set of results will actually look very, very good. And even the company said that they're hoping that auto demand will hold up better than previously expected due to demand for hybrid models. And I do agree with them. Plus, we are seeing that China is manufacturing a lot of vehicles and they're entering the South African market as well. So I do think that it looks good going forward for this company.
And I've been just talking about China, also pretty good that we are seeing that economy still gaining momentum, as we saw earlier on in the week for the second quarter. That was above 5%, beating market expectations. Well, let's go into another commodity counter. This is a diversified miner, BHP. It came out with a quarterly and yearly update, posting record copper and iron ore production. They say that commodity demand globally has remained resilient so far in 2025. Was this all good news?
Not all of it, but mostly. So like you said, it's the iron ore and copper production. So they've reported 14% increase in iron ore production for the quarter. And this was mainly on the back of positive weather conditions. And then copper production was only up 1% for the quarter, but full year production was up by 8% to a record level of 2.02 million tons. They have flagged rising costs and delays at one of its key projects in Canada. And they also said that they might sell the struggling Australian nickel operations in 2027. So I think, going forward, I do like BHP Billiton, and I think it does offer very good value at these levels. I think we have seen a lot of front loading when it comes to some of these commodities, especially copper. So the company has been a beneficiary of that, but we just have to be mindful of any volatility in the global economy because that will affect BHP Billiton. negatively.
Okay. And yeah, really, I mean, as I even said earlier, the fact that they've said that commodity demand globally has remained resilient, hopefully then that speaks to global economic growth that can also remain resilient, and maybe we can still see a pickup even with all the tariff heat that we are seeing in the environment. Well, Annatjie, let us get to your stock pick for today. Where are you seeing value?
I'm putting my money into the Ethereum ETF, which is listed on the NASDAQ. And this ETF will enable you to get easy access to the Ethereum cryptocurrency. This is the cryptocurrency with the second largest market cap. And this ETF is managed by BlackRock. Ethereum is a decentralized open source blockchain platform which enables the creation of smart contracts and decentralized applications. Crypto markets currently supported by the friendlier regulatory environment in the US, where there were actually 3 bills passed in the last week, but bids are also supported by a bet against fiat currencies, which you can clearly see with the dollar coming under pressure again. And this is on the back of debt sustainability concerns and record inflows into crypto ETFs.
Well, thank you very much, Annatjie. That leads me very nicely into the next interview that I will be having on the crypto market. Really appreciate your time. That was Annatjie Van Rooyen from Regeneysys Business School.